Yes, everybody, hope you're doing fantastically well. It is Connor here, and we are back with the debrief. Leeds United have won a game. Yes, our fourth win of the season, predicted by the two geniuses above me, and not so myself, I will have to say that. But I hope you're all doing well in the building today. Listen, we're all buzzing, we're all jubilant. It's fantastic when Leeds get the win. I know Cage's stream was buoyant, it was jubilant, as was mine. It was energetic, it was enthusiastic, it was everything. And just to top it off, everybody, as Lewis has come in, Man United in the mud. You love to see it. There was a squeal from my room. My mum said to me, Connor, what on earth's going on out there? I said, 2 words, João Moutinho. Absolutely brilliant. So here we are. There are 130 of you in the building. Make sure you're liking the stuff as well, guys. If you are audio-based, you're on your way to work, whatever, this will be available on iTunes, Spotify, Spreaker, wherever you listen to all your good stuff. Make sure you're checking Cage's channel out as well. Link is in the description. Brownie's Twitter is always a pleasure as well. Evening, guys, says Rob's. Love to see you guys smiling again. Feels like a long time, to be fair.
Some of us have always been smiling, Rob. Some of us have always been smiling.
Evening, guys, says Tash. How you doing, mate? Loads of all late, aren't we? We're getting hey up, lads, says Luke. And let's get into it anyway, guys. We've got a lot to get through. A Leeds United win. We've got to touch on absolutely everything. KG, Brownie, hope you're doing all right, lads. KG, I'll come to you first, mate. How are you feeling? Undefeated all year?
Hey, good old dad joke in there already. Let's go. No, it was a good start, and it was expected for me. For me, just looking at Burnley, I mean, we're going to get into it, but when you're rolling out Hennessy, Cork, Lennon, and a host of other players like that, if we're worried about that, then we might as well just give up right now, especially playing at home. And Burnley have not been good all season long, no matter, whatever charts you might bring up. But, it's just what it is, isn't it? You expect to win, and it was good to see a good performance to go with the 3 points as well. So, yeah, listen, 8 points from the bottom. We're not going to get dragged back into that. We're not out the woods, but we're just not going to be one of the worst 3 teams come the end of the season. It's just not going to happen. And I think it's relief for everyone. You saw with the hug from Bielsa, he felt it. The pressure was on everyone, the players. You could feel that yesterday. If it wasn't 3 points, there would have been questions. Well, who are we going to beat, right? So it was just good to get the win. It's nice to see Harrison get on a score sheet and a scrappy goal. It was good footwork from him, but it was just good to see a rebound going. We didn't have to work hard for it. It was from their turnover. So, yeah, man, all good. 3-1, take that all day long.
Colin's back in the building, as always. How's everything doing, Colin? Let us know about your family life. You are the debrief big contributor. We're all invested in what's going on now. But Colin's back again. Happy New Year, lads. About time Firpo showed up without his UFC MMA tactics. The scum look beatable at Ellen Road under Ralph. I'll be there for that for sure. Matching on together, Brownie. Can you stick the darts on in the background? Brownie, do not do that, Brownie.
It is on, but I've got a track record of getting Connor's videos taken down for copyright. So it'll stay over there.
Brownie, are you sort of in agreement with what KG said? Have you got anything to add up? We'll get into the first half, the lineup, the second half, everything. We'll get through the video, but
it seemed much more fluid, that first half especially. It seemed more like Leeds themselves, like they were the interplay, the way they were getting at them, the bodies that were flooding forward. It just seemed like what we've been accustomed to seeing over the past few years. Yes, Burnley weren't great, but I think we made them that way. We really did. Like KG said about the turnovers, it was very unlike Burnley. Made them change how they played. They were trying to play out from the back a lot because the balls that were going forward, which I'm sure we'll touch on later on, Koch and Llorente dealt really well with it in the air. So it actually led to Chris Wood getting taken off towards the end. They weren't pumping balls into our box like we've seen Burnley do. The way we played made them have to change up a little bit. And it was just good to come out of a ground and the conversation be who was man of the match and not just one person stand out. You could have given it to 4, 5, 6 players again, which for me is a major positive, that you look around the team and you've got positives everywhere from yesterday.
Yeah, Mark's come in and said a perfect 24 hours of football. Leeds win with passion. Bielsa shows his love, and then scum lose get in. Yeah, it has. It's been a great weekend, I have to say. But Brownie, I've got a stat here that I know you're going to love. KG, I think you'll love it as well, but it's a very Brownie-esque stat that I want to bring out today because it's not very me, but I'm just going to say it. Brownie, guess what, mate? We're as close to 8th as we are 18th. How does that make you feel, mate?
I've always said it's 3 from the bottom 4, and I only say bottom 4 because you've seen, we've spoke about it today, Newcastle linked with Trippier, Aubameyang. I think they'll bring in enough quality to beat a couple more wins than the teams around them. So it's always been 3 from the bottom 4 to me. But this is going to make you laugh. It annoyed me that Brentford won because I've been looking at teams above us rather than teams below us, and that's just
you've had your eyes on Brentford for a while, haven't you?
It's just they're just like the Brentford, the Bright. I think them teams that are in touch with Palace, Villa, we're 3 points behind them. We've got them to come to Ellen Road. I've always been looking up and down, and like KG said, that there's them 3 teams at the bottom are absolute dross. Honestly, 1 win out of 17. It's Newcastle 1 win out of 19. It's diabolical, really. It's a disgrace that they've got 1 win out of 19 games. A second half of the season, if we match the first half, which I'm hoping we pick up more wins, you're looking at 31 points. Newcastle, Burnley, they've got to get 7 wins. They've only got 1. It's like KG says, it's done and dusted for me. That now it's look up rather than down.
Marcus has said, what a win, good decisions with subs. Yeah, we'll get onto substitutions. It was actually really, really refreshing to see. Happy New Year match on together. So let's get through it then, lads. So the lineup saw, what we sort of expected, really. The sort of contentious one was Roberts up top. Harrison out wide on the left-hand side. Obviously, the standouts of Burnley was Cornet on the bench, obviously coming back from injury. And it was quite nice to actually see, I don't know about you guys, but an actual back line, a back 4 of some real pedigree. Luke Ayling right back, we've not seen in a while. And, we forget that Koch-Llorente partnership was brought in the first year of the Premier League. It was going to be our centre-back partnership, a sort of a push on to Europe, if you will, of having those 2 at the back. A German player who's in the national side who everybody's raving about, and Llorente, who's been there with Sociedad and came in as a little bit more of an experienced head to Koch, and obviously on the left hand side we had Junior Firpo. So it's a very sort of forward thinking Leeds defence there, and one which we've all wanted to see. I mean, KG, what were your initial thoughts on the lineups for sort of both sides? You made your thoughts clear on Burnley, mate, but what about Leeds? Were you happy?
I would have preferred to see Gelhardt start. I just don't see the point in holding this kid back. I think if he was doing what he was doing at another club, we'd be thinking, why haven't we got a Joe Gelhardt? But, people seem to be content with him being on the bench. But not for me. I think he should be a starter while Bamford's out. And what Gelhardt's doing actually is kind of making you think, well, if he keeps playing this way, does Bamford automatically come back in? I think that's what everybody wants to see. We want to see players that have got competition for their places. No one wants anyone that's going to be out for however long and just automatically come back in because there's no one else there. So for me, Gelhardt has to start more games. It's as simple as that. His age has got nothing to do with it. I wish people start talking about his age because he's not exactly, 16, 17. He's 19 now, isn't he? 20 almost. So yeah, listen, Gelhardt start. I was a bit surprised that Dan James didn't start. I don't know whether he wasn't 100% fit or not, but for me, Dan James, I know he's getting a lot of stick from certain people, but for what he's doing and where he could possibly go, I like the look of him. I do. I like the look of what he does in terms of going forward, pressing. Obviously, just get that final ball, even better. And we've got a real good player on our hands. I think we want the Dan James for Wales to come over to Leeds. You know what I mean? It's one of those like the Pogba thing for France and Man United. So. Yeah, I was just surprised with those. It was expected just to see Click and stuff in there. But yeah, I wasn't too fussed about it. Like you, I was happy to see Robin Koch and Llorente there. It was nice to see them finally together. And, not to slight anybody else, but it just shows you the kind of difference what you get from those kind of experienced heads. Robin Koch was just throwing himself in front of everything in like the first 30 minutes. He was all over the place, defending well, defending his lines. And you just saw the quality between the 2 of them. That's what I'm saying when certain players are talked up. When you see a difference in quality, it's like, well, does that guy really get back in? I'm not so sure. So, yeah, it was good to see a lot of those guys. And Dallas as well had a good game. He owed us after the last 3, but hey, Dallas has been superb, and it shows you that he was that poor in the last 3 that you can remember it. But yeah, he was fantastic yesterday as well.
Yeah, I just want to shout out before Brownie goes on this as well. I want to shout out Stuart Dallas, 250 appearances, the first since Lucas Radaby, which I mean is unbelievable. And fair play to Dallas, as KG said. His last couple of performances I've been a little bit sort of disappointed with, but Dallas only has for me. It's very rare that Stuart Dallas goes throughout a 10-game period and has 4 or 5 bad games. I think it's always sort of 1 or 2 and then 8 are good, So
that's what I'm saying. I want to make that clear as well. Dallas usually gives you a 7 or 8 per week. Even on that bit where he wasn't feeling himself before he made the announcement, it's just that he wasn't affecting the game. It wasn't that he was poor. It's just that you didn't notice him. But he's usually consistent. That's why it was just so odd to see him have those kind of games he was having. But he was back to normal yesterday.
Yeah, I echo what KG says about it. That was the big thing that stood out for me was the defense. We were going into a game and there was no, I don't want to say weak links in the back four, but that's what we've had of late. We have, whether we like it or not, it's been a weak back four for quite a while. And the Coquelente partnership, it looked like they'd played together for a long time. The way that one was covering round, the one was going up with Wood, and the other one was just mopping up behind. One was stepping in front. It didn't look like they'd just come together yesterday, which effectively they have. So that only bodes well for me going forward, that if they can put a partnership like that together straight away, then what can it lead to going forward? I know Lorente is out of the next league game, which again, it's
so annoying, isn't it? It's so annoying.
it is positive to see that we had. And I mean, this is what I've been trying to say for weeks. We've been going up against these teams with just makeshift teams, like that comment there, square pegs, round holes, and that's what it's been. It has been that for a while, and it was just so good to see a solid. It like you say, it looked. What's the right word? It just looked established names in there. They weren't. You knew what you were going to get from them, and that was the major standout for me. I'm sure we'll get on to my favourite player later, but I think Gelhardt, he's just a special talent. I've never been at Ellen Road and heard a reception like that for a 19-year-old before. It took me back to what Smith used to get when he was starting to come on the scene. Just him running back to the dugout, the whole ground erupted. It's just an excitement. He's a player that gets you off the edge of your seat. And as soon as he came on, he was running at players. He was direct. So for me, don't get me wrong, I think Roberts has done well the last few weeks, but we're in the Premier League now. I don't want just done well. He had 6 shots yesterday. 1 was on target. It needs to be polished up until he gets to the edge of the box. Roberts has been doing amazingly. His touch has been better. He's been linking players in. He's been doing everything right. But if he's playing down the middle as a striker in the Premier League, you need end product. And I think we get that from Gelhardt over Roberts, to be honest, going forward. Depending on when Bamford is back, because for me, Bamford comes straight back in next season. You can't keep Gelhardt on the bench forever because he's that much of a special talent. So it is an interesting point, but for now, I think Bamford's still ahead.
Yeah, and just to finish on the defense, I mean, Junior Firpo yesterday was amazing. Overall, he was just amazing. Didn't get bullied by Burnley. Like someone said, he avoided a yellow card as well, but it was going forward as well. He linked well with Harrison. He linked well with Dan James. It didn't matter which one of the two was on there. He was there. He was making space, getting the ball forward. He was getting forward. That's the Junior Firpo that I want to see going forward, because he was immense yesterday. Full credit to him.
Yeah. It was between him and Dallas for me for man of the match, and I gave mine to Dallas just purely for the goal. And talking to Dallas, he done half come up with some big goals for Leeds. I coming out of the ground thinking the goals. You think back the Derby playoff, he dragged through with a couple of goals. Birmingham 5-4 last year, he got one of the late goals there. I remember Boxing Day against Preston the year we were trying to get up. When Preston were up near the top, he scored an equaliser in the last minute. Winner at City last year. He produces some big goals for Leeds, and like you say, kind of 250 8 years. 8 years, he'll be due a testimonial soon. It's phenomenal with the turnover of players that Leeds have gone through over them 8 years. You think of some of the gash that we've had. Honestly, he's just
not even 15 minutes.
That's a dictionary. That you allowed that.
We'll have to see.
But what I'm saying is the high turnover of players that have come through the door at Leeds United and just not cut it. He's been consistent good for a long time, and pound for pound signings, there's not been many better than him over the last 20 years for Leeds.
Yeah, I think you bang on, mate. I think, when you look at the lineup, and we'll get into the first half anyway, I think it was typical Leeds, wasn't it? It was blow Burnley away or blow the opposition away, actually play really, really well. And it's not just Leeds this season as well. I guess last season we were a little bit more clinical, but when you look at the 4-year span with Bielsa, we have been probably quite wasteful. And it definitely was that in the first half. Leeds completely dominant. Aside from Charlie Taylor, who I actually thought had a good game. Rafinha was quiet, I thought Charlie Taylor did all right on him. I thought he was the only standout Burnley player, really. Apart from him getting forward and sort of, I think he got Wood in a good situation in the second half, Wood in a very good situation in the first half as well. Aside from that, I can't really think of much. But Leeds blew Burnley away and we just couldn't score. And I guess, this is probably a good segue to get onto some of the chances that we had. Obviously, we did score in the first half, but I don't think you can, if Roberts is out of the next game and Bamford isn't there, I don't think it can be a Dan James experiment up front and Jack Harrison on the left. I think we're going to talk about Joe Gelhardt as well, but the Roberts experiment up front, I want to get your thoughts on that, guys, because obviously Roberts has come out and said that he's a striker. He believes that he is a striker, but what I saw is, I completely agreed with KG as well on his live stream when he spoke about him going off and the reasons he went off, and was he okay? Was he injured? Was he all right? It's a bit of a controversial one, but I think when you're in that headspace, when you're so battered with confidence and you're still on the pitch, I don't know. Maybe
I don't know why you go straight down the tunnel. Sorry to cut in, but it seems taking forever to get off the pitch. And if you're going off injured, you go straight down the tunnel and you get your treatment. He just went and sat in the dugout. For me, I just didn't think. There was no real impact injury. He didn't sort of stop when he was going off, stop on the pitch or whatever in movement, or it was just very, very random. But he had so many good opportunities in that first half. We'll get onto the second half, obviously, when he was on. But some great running in the central midfield space, and I think we'll all agree that in that central space, he's good at build-up play. He's very good at that dropping deep. He has improved that a lot, and that's what I'm saying. Up until that 18-yard box, he's becoming quite effective. And that he actually is. He's linking. He's not taking as many touches. He's not trying to do 13 turns when he gets the ball. He's getting it and playing it. And but 6 shots and 1 on target as a Premier League striker, it's not a good ratio to have. And this is the thing that's been branded at him all the time. He needs to score goals. And some of them chances yesterday weren't just half chances.
No. Well, I think the standout one, obviously there was loads when he was put through on that right hand side, and he sort of tried to chip them a couple of times, and Hennessy just grabbed one of them. It was easy. Ben Mee had made a mistake, we were through, and it was just easy for Hennessy. But the main one, KG, is that header. That header, just a delicious ball in from Luke Ayling, and in a pressure cooker situation, mate, when Leeds are needing the win, that just had to go in, didn't it?
Yeah, you just can't miss chances like that in the Premier League. It's criminal. And, if he's a more high-profile striker, they're going to replay that over and over again. But because it's Tyler Roberts, he will just be forgotten about by the general media. But it was a gilt-edged chance. You can't miss that. There was no pressure. There was no centre-back on him. He was free. And
it's probably the best ball ever produced as well.
I said that on my match reaction yesterday in regards to was he injured? I did the whole injured thing because I know football players that have done it. They've said it themselves. They say, "Listen, I haven't had the greatest game," and you just I've pulled up with something and I'll just go again the next game. Football players aren't immune from doing that, by the way, because they've actually said it. But it's funny. I had a few messages from people saying, "Wow, I can't believe you said that." But it's nothing controversial. I never said that he definitely wasn't injured. I'm just saying I'll be surprised if he's not back after his suspension. That's all I'm saying, because you got to think of all the chances he missed. Burnley then go equalize 1-1. It's then on him to try and get a result in a pressure cooker situation. And in the start of the first half, he did one shot and it went to the side of him, didn't it? He took the shot and it was like a sideways pass. I just feel, and then he runs up and he's like, "Ooh, this pulled." I just think that he may have just said, "I'll fight another day." That's just my personal opinion. But if he's out longer, I hope he gets well soon.
For me, I I don't think he goes off if he's not in. I mean, apart from his ravaged spell in the first year, he's been relatively injury free. And I remember joking a couple of weeks ago, it's never him that gets injured, is it? When we have all these injuries, it's never. He's always available. He can always play up front. But yeah, it's my opinion on Roberts has always been the same. I think he has improved. He's played over 100 games for Leeds, though. How long do we keep saying he's improved? He's in the 100 club for Leeds United. So don't get me wrong, he's a professional footballer. It's very hard to play 100 games for any club. But if he's coming out saying he's a striker, goals, you need to add goals to your game. And I personally, the way he's produced the link-up play lately, would he be better not being a 10? Is he ever going to dislodge Bamford from the team when Bamford's fit? No, but there's a question to be had for the number 10 role. We've not really filled that. So it's an interesting one for him. But yeah, Gelhardt came on, and I think we just got so much more momentum when Gelhardt came on for him, which I'm sure we'll go on to when we touch the second half. But it just seemed, like I said, the atmosphere just seemed to lift. It's just more exciting. I don't want to say that in a negative way. It's just he drives at players and it just lifts everyone.
So what were your obviously the first half? I mean, Cage, Leeds were, put it to you, mate. I mean, Leeds were completely dominant, weren't they? I mean, I looked at the stats earlier on, even just for the first half, and it was astronomical in Leeds' favour. And it is real testament, because obviously I was speaking all week about Leeds having 5 out from when we last played them, and Burnley having that same cohort of players who were good against us last time. But it almost seemed like the midfield had more control. It all just seemed to click from moment one, really.
Yeah, and Forshaw was a big part of that. He was, again, another good one. Not so much like the Chelsea one where he was getting the ball linking play, but he was just doing everything to break up Burnley. And you could see Burnley were complaining about Forshaw's tackling, which is very, very funny. But yeah, Forshaw was good. I thought Click was better in the second half than he was in the first. Again, in the first half, I still think he needs like 4 or 5 touches to get a pass out of his feet. But he got better in the second half. So yeah, the midfield was good yesterday. I think it was just a whole all-round good team effort. I just think that Roberts was the weak link up front, because I think if we had Gelhardt taking a couple of those shots, I think he at least works Hennessy. Because with Wayne Hennessy, with all due respect to him being a professional goalkeeper, you just need to get the shots on target against keepers like that. Just make them work. I mean, we saw it with Dan James's header. You know, who else is conceding that kind of header where they've got loads on it and then it loops in? It doesn't happen, does it? So yeah, listen, it was just a good team effort.
Yeah, I think Kate's right. Just as a whole round, but I think in the centre midfield, I think we really won the battle. I really do. It just seems so open at times, and I alluded it to before about Cock and Llorente winning the headers, but obviously Wood won a few. But then we were always picking up the second balls. We were first to everything yesterday. I thought Click and Forshaw it really worked. They were breaking up all sorts, and we've given, not hammer, because obviously Click by his own standard hasn't been the same, but I thought yesterday he was good. There was one time in the first half where he should have released Roberts, and that was a few more touches. Don't know if Roberts was onside. I was in the cop, so it's hard to see, but it looked for me like he should just play him in. But Click, we were chatting off air, I thought Click popped up a lot of key of our moments in attack. The Roberts header, he won the ball in the middle and played it out wide to Ayling to deliver. The Firpo chance where he's flicked it, he won the ball in the middle, played it out to Rafinha to deliver. The goal, he took a quick corner, and he just seemed to be a bit more about. He seemed a bit more here, there, and everywhere. And even the Gelhardt goal, I've not noticed it till I've rewatched it back. He's bombing forward, and he's took Tarkowski to Gravely's fish and chip shop and left the 1v1 in the middle. We don't really see that from Click of late. We haven't seen them bursting runs forward, but yesterday I thought we saw it a lot more.
Yeah, it almost seemed quite weird as well for Burnley, because I thought they were bypassing that midfield a lot, whereas Leeds were trying to move through the midfield a lot. And, you know, I think we've just had a comment from Bill Sargent, who said, easy for Forshaw and Click to look good against Burnley. Forshaw is admittedly our most consistent calming influence. And I think that's right. I think
he's right, yeah.
You've got to
take into consideration who you're playing against. Absolutely, for sure. Yeah, we can't sit here and say Burnley have won 1 in 17 and then say we're brilliant. But it's just encouraging to see that we can do, and it goes back to what I've said for the last few weeks. we're only getting beat by the top teams. The teams around us are not beating us. And that's why I've always thought we'll stay up. Yesterday, we're supposedly in this relegation battle with Burnley. We were miles apart.
I can because I can answer that, because I am one of those people who still think that Burnley are in with the shout of getting out. But what I will say is, being completely transparent, I didn't expect that yesterday, and I was so pleasantly surprised because what I'd seen this season wasn't reflective of what happened yesterday. That was Leeds for me. It wasn't Leeds of old. I don't think we're still at that level, but the intensity, players in the right positions, how we were so quick on the counter-attack. Burnley were absolutely shuddering. They couldn't handle it. That high press was back again that we've all said has been completely absent. So that ability as well to bounce back, as Jack Glenn has just said in the comment section, from the 45th minute to the 60th minute, which we haven't done this season. Yeah. We haven't done that this season at all. So I think how I was looking at the start was that they could cause us troubles, but Leeds United, it was very, very encouraging what I saw. And for me, it's the best performance of the season. If we can do that, if that's a lightning rod for the rest of our season, we're going to be nowhere near it. But that has to continue. That level.
I think Jack's absolutely right. And that was the only niggly thing for me yesterday coming away from the game. I mean, we were that dominant in the first half. You're bound to get a reaction from another team, but it was a little bit like deja vu from the Brentford game, where we came out after half time, and rather than going at teams again, like we were slowing things down, throw-ins we were walking to and just taking our time, and it felt like we were trying to kill the game a little bit ourselves in that first 10 minutes of the second half, and it allowed them to get a foothold in the game a little bit, because for that first 10-15 minutes of the second half, it wasn't like the first half. We were under I wouldn't say the cosh, because they've had 2 shots on target.
That was Burnley's best. It was Burnley's best spell of the game, wasn't it?
It just felt like the equalised, and it was like, oh my God, this could be another Brentford here. It had that feeling for 5 or 10 minutes. And again, it's just after half time, which we've mentioned in the show before, how many goals we've conceded in that period. Over half of our goals have come just after half time. And that was a little annoyance. But you look at it as a whole, they've had 2 shots on target, and like I say, one was a free kick. They've not really trouble, and that's why I think Burnley are unlike other years, are in a bit of trouble, because they just didn't seem like a Burnley team we've been accustomed to. They weren't pumping balls into our box. They were trying to play. They were trying to play with Ben Mee at the back. He was trying to do like drag backs on the halfway line. They were trying to. It just didn't seem like we always used to joke about Stoke. Can you go to Stoke? They were good at what they did. And I think Burnley are like that. They were good at what they did. And yesterday, they just weren't like a Burnley team. It was a bit odd, to be honest. They kept changing the formation as well. I mean, at half-time, they brought Cornet on and took Goodmanson off. And it just didn't look like they really had an idea, to be honest.
I think afterwards, Dyche said, didn't he, KG, that the edge that Leeds have, Burnley haven't quite found that this season. I thought that was quite telling, really. That's almost like, I mean, Leeds, we haven't found our edge this season, but yesterday was probably the moment where that could have been the moment where we have found our edge. And I thought Dyche's comments were quite telling after the game, to be honest.
Yeah, but if there's one thing he's an honest guy. I think Sean Dyche, if give him credit, he's honest like 90% of the time. I mean, even with the fan that threw the bottle at his players, he said it was a great crowd except for the one idiot. So he's not even trying to hammer all the fans. He's just picking out one that's thrown the thing. So and he's seen it himself. He's not blind. He's a smart guy, and it's this old trope. You'll hear it on TV, and I don't know if other people got carried away with it, but Burnley just haven't been good in the last calendar year. They just haven't. Like, it doesn't matter what people say about Burnley being a tough place to go. They've hardly won any home games. Like, they're
not
literally
winning
games right now.
I looked at the away form on the way to the ground. They haven't won an away game. They've got 4 points away from home, and they've all been draws. They're not winning at home, and they're not winning away. I mean, it's for me, they're going into their games like they went to St James's a few weeks ago, got beat. They've gone to Ellen Road, got beat. And this is what I was saying about us. The teams around us, they're the games you need to win. You need to beat your Palaces. You need to beat your Brentfords. You need to beat your Brightons. You need to beat your Southamptons, Evertons, Watfords, your Burnleys. And they haven't been beating us. So that's why I've always remained confident. If we're getting beat by them teams, then obviously... And like if Burnley had come yesterday and beaten us, then we're in whole heaps of trouble. But I mean, I'm not sure. I think yesterday was just. I think you said it at the beginning, Cage. Just relief. It just relieved a lot of tension for a lot of people because people have been worried about relegation, and rightly so. When you look at us, when you're 16th, 17th, there's obviously you're down there for a reason. But I think yesterday a lot of people saw that there is a massive difference between Leeds and Burnley.
Yeah, and it's also as well. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, lads. I've just seen this. Just before you go on to it, KG, and their talisman is off to the Africa Cup of Nations now. Obviously, that's Maxwell Cornet. We could also see Emmanuel Dennis also go from Watford.
He's not going.
Is he falling out with the manager? Is that what's happened with Emmanuel Dennis?
Listen, I don't know what's going on with Dennis, but he's not going to the African Nations, and they subbed him in the 46th minute of the game. So it looks like there's some real backstage stuff going on there.
Sorry, just on that comment from Niall that we should have got beat 5-0. Yeah, but we didn't.
No, I know. Let me just touch on that. Just the Africa Cup of Nations, just before I forget, because obviously this is big in the relegation pile, and we're going to get onto the second half because we're off on a tangent a little bit here. But the only reason I mentioned the Africa Cup of Nations was because I'm a little bit confused, and I don't know if anybody in the comment knows or anything like that. The comment section knows, but I've heard the African Cup of Nations is been reduced to 2 weeks, and other people are saying it's 6 weeks. So how long are we looking for like a Maxwell Cornet to be out? Because obviously Leeds aren't going to be affected by this.
I thought it was from next week.
Yeah.
So depending on how well you do till mid-February, and Salah and Mane are both leaving Liverpool until at least mid-February. If you get knocked out, obviously at the World Cup, you come back after your group games. But you're looking at least a month.
Yeah, because a lot of these teams as well, a lot of these players are part of very good nations as well, aren't they? Nigeria, Senegal. So, yeah, okay, that's a big positive for Leeds as well. A bit annoying about Dennis, I have to be honest. Lewis is saying,
just touching on the Niall comment about we should have got beat. Yeah, we did ride our luck, but there's games. It's where football goes. I thought the Brentford game should have been out of sight before they got back in the game. We mentioned it off air about Burnley when we were chatting about the Burnley game. We were awful at Burnley. We were absolutely awful that day, and they still didn't beat us. But yeah, the African Cup of Nations, I think you're right, and luckily, I'm just checking my geography before I say something daft. Yeah, we haven't got anybody. We're not losing anybody to that, are we? So
no. Okay, and guys, as well, there are 614 of you here. Make sure you're slapping the like on the video.
I'm just laughing at Chris's comment. I can't.
No.
But yeah. Anyway, let's get on to the second half.
Wait. Sorry, Connor. Just before you go, did you two have any thoughts on Tyler Roberts not celebrating Jack Harrison's goal?
I saw it today. I spotted it today, actually. Weirdly, when he was going off, I was stood with my brother, and this is what stood in my mind about why he didn't go down the tunnel. He went down near the scoreboard, and instead of just walking off to the side of the pitch and then walking up the touchline so we could get our sub on, he walked in a straight line all the way back to the halfway line and then across. My brother was like, "Just get off." It's like all about him. It felt like that moment was all about him, and the goal celebration. I'm all for, like, when the third goal went in, Firpo dropped to his knees, Llorente's running back, fist pumping the cop. I'm all for that. Don't get me wrong, you got to perform. But I just think there's an element of when we score a goal, get together. It don't matter who scores as long as that goal goes in. And maybe Harrison could have squared it to Roberts for a tap-in, but he felt like he hadn't, so he just didn't celebrate, did he?
No. I didn't notice it until someone mentioned it on my stream yesterday, so I was just interested to see. I thought, it's odd. I mean, not everyone has to jump up and like pull a hammy, or anything like that. But it was a little strange, just in the circumstances, going up 1-0 Ellen Road, big game.
He was key. He was key in that first half. Roberts. He played a good part of the game. He was involved in. Okay, missed a few chances, but he was involved in the game. So you'd think my team scored, brilliant. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know.
Yeah, John Smith as well says Harrison did not celebrate. He did. Trust me, I've been putting together videos of Jack Harrison all day. Jack Harrison did definitely celebrate his goal. Okay, so second half, lads. I've got a big question. Cornet, I presume you've watched it back as well. Was it a foul from Llorente on Cornet, or did Cornet drag Llorente down first? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, listen, it's one of those. I think if it's for us, we're not arguing it, are we? We'd say we'll take the free kick and carry on.
KG, yeah. I'm arguing the yellow card, mate, because he's suspended. So that's very.
Oh,
very
I see. Oh, yellow card, maybe not. But I can't really say it wasn't a foul because it was soft. Yeah, but I think it was a foul.
I tell you, it wasn't a foul. Honest, yeah. When Gelhardt absolutely mugged off Tarkowski on the byline and was away because Tarkowski just jumped to the floor and then the ref bought it. That wasn't a foul. But yeah, it's one of them. It's either give it. I thought the yellow card was harsh. Don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't have minded him missing the FA Cup game rather than the league game.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought when I was watching it back, I mean, it was slowed down. I thought Cornet had a hold of him before.
You were talking about it on the radio Leeds away from the game, and Adam Pope was saying the same thing, that Cornet instigated the foul and then Valente pulled him down, and it's like, well, which happened first? You can see it.
Attackers do that all the time, though. That's what attackers do. They make sure that there's a bit of contact there, and then if the referee buys it, and he did at that point. So,
KG, I think it was just because it was the double punch. It was the fact that Cornet scored a wonder goal and Llorente was yellow carded.
I tell you what, I'm not having, and I'm not having that wall. I'm not having that wall from Melier.
Yeah, it was a bit. I thought I said it on my review. I thought it was a bit soft, to be honest. The wall.
When we were stood, because obviously I'm in the cop behind, and he was so far to his left hand side. There was but. I mean,
Melier, I didn't. What are your thoughts on? I mean, KG, I watched yours as well, and you've just said sometimes you've just got to say it's a wonder strike, and I agree with you. I just thought when it was slowed down, and I've watched it about 3 or 4 times back today, and I just thought Brownie makes a really good point there about the wall. I wonder if the wall was in maybe his way, he couldn't see around it, but he just looked. You know, when you talk about foot movement across the line,
it looked like he'd just given. It looked to me, it looked like he'd just given an extra half a yard too much. He was just stood too far over for me. I mean, he's pulled a great save in the first half off Wood, and he's made some good saves for us this season. But I mean, I don't know what people's thoughts are like in the comments, but the goal kicks are driving me insane, to be honest, mate. The goal kicks. Yesterday, Firpo and Ayling, when we were winning 2-1, because he's kicked a ball down the middle for over to Dan James, and Firpo and Ayling have come over and hammered him, to be honest. They've absolutely hammered him, and Melier's like put his hands up, but we mentioned it in the Chelsea game when he's chipped one into Dallas, and whether he wants to play that way. But I think someone just mentioned then about organisation. I think as a goalkeeper, you just got to know when you're 2-1 up with a minute to go. Just put it anywhere. You just got to take ownership at times, I think. And yeah, he's young and he's still learning, which you forget how young he actually is, to be fair. But I just think for the wall, I thought it just didn't look right.
Yeah, Tim Wood's just giving us a bit of knowledge there. African players missed 2 league games and 2 FA Cup games, which, okay, it's all right, I guess. Okay, lads. So I wanted to touch on a few aspects as well. Obviously, we'll touch on Joffy as the next point. I want to talk about Rafinha as well. Dan James, we spoke about him a little bit earlier. I thought when he came on, he had a really, really positive impact. I thought he was consistently running at Burnley's back line. A couple of balls which didn't quite make it, but I thought, I feel with Dan James and KG, you mentioned there that there's a fair few people who are criticising him. I give him sort of a lot of plaudits just because he's been playing as a centre forward for a lot of it, and I think when he's been out on the left, or there's been occasions when he's been out on the right as well, I think he's been good. I think he's been progressing as well. We all know he should have got a penalty at Newcastle as well. I think his impact on the game is always very good. What were your thoughts on Dan James yesterday, KG?
Yeah, the ball that he needs to work on is that diagonal ball, because it always seems to bounce in the penalty area, then go out for a goal kick. I noticed that with Dan James. But listen, is there better than Dan James out there? Of course there is. But for me, his age and the trajectory that he could possibly go means that we could have a really good player on our hands over the next few years. So if he just keeps on, I think the more he plays, the more confidence he gets from playing week in, week out as well. I think it's only going to benefit him. I just like a lot of what he's got, not just his pace. I think he is that final third bit is starting to click for him as well. His pressing is excellent. He's probably our best presser right now because he's the freshest one in the team. So, yeah, I just like what he's about. And whether he's starting or coming on as sub, he seems to be making some kind of impact for us in games. You know, it's rare that I come off and say that Dan James had a poor game. There's one, but I don't remember who he's against. But he's usually doing something for us. He's usually trying to make stuff happen, and he's the one that's always winning the free kicks high up the pitch because people just chop him down because he's just too quick for him. So he's got loads of positives to take, and he's young, so there's still time on his side.
KG, I almost thought yesterday as well when James and Joffrey came on, Burnley's back line took 2 yards back all of a sudden because they were scared of the pace. They were scared of players actually running at them, you know, and I thought that was a massive difference. But yeah, Brownie, what are your thoughts on DJ yesterday, mate?
I thought the first 10 or 15 minutes he was quiet initially. I thought it took a while for him to grow into it. The last 15 minutes, I thought that's what we want to see from him. The ball across for Gelhardt, the getting into the box with a header. I thought he ended the game really well. But I think he grew into it one. Did he? I can't remember the way the subs went. Did he come on before Gelhardt?
No, Gelhardt came on first.
Gelhardt came on first.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Him and then James coming on. It's amazing what you can do when you bring on good subs, isn't it? You see a reaction and you see other teams, like you said, dropping back. And I thought he grew into the game more and more and finished it off really lively. And he's just really direct again, isn't he? And I think you're right. He's been playing out of position. He's been playing with mismatched players, and this goes for all of them. You put anybody into that. Roberts, Forshaw, Click, Harrison. They've been in and out. They've been playing with not the same team. There's been no cohesion, and he's been playing down the middle. And I'm sure if you asked him where he wants to play, I think down the middle is not probably top of his list, to be honest. So I think what KG says is right. He's a young player, isn't he? Is he relatively the same age as Tyler Roberts?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. 22, 23.
There you go. He's got lots of time on his hands, then, hasn't he? And he's got an attribute that hurts teams. He's got pace, and when you've got pace, you can always do things for me. And like you and KG says, he's moulding into that press. He's really getting at teams and winning the ball high up, which is something a lot of people have said has been missing this year from previous years. We've not been pressing as well, and if he can get that into his game as well as that end ball, because I thought he was unlucky with the one across for Gelhardt. It reminded me of the Chelsea game where Geldhardt's got across and he's stuck it in. It was a very similar ball across the front.
Hennessy actually he intercepted that really well. Hennessy was off his line quickly.
Yeah. So I think it positive for me. Dan James is 24. Yes, you're looking at Newcastle's paying 25 million for a 32-year-old right back. Trippier. I mean, it's the way of the world at the minute. But
and also just on Dan James as well, like him and Firpo combined really well down the left, and James put in a lovely cross across, and that's when Rafinha missed that open goal.
KG, I'd forgotten about that. Oh, God.
Yeah, but that's just another example of how he can link up and put balls across the box as well, which is what he's been doing a fair bit. But there's just been no striker. I always like people just to remember things that have happened, because it's like, and I don't want to take it historical, but like when we had Billy Sharp and he only got like 5 goals, but he wasn't getting no service, man. So there's context behind why he only got 5 goals in the Championship for Leeds, and I just want people to remember that about Dan James, because he does put in some terrific crosses sometimes, but without that natural striker up front, it's difficult for him to get assists and stuff like that.
This was why I was defending Harrison a little bit at the beginning of the season as well. Obviously, he's been out of form, and obviously Bielsa's acknowledged that and everything. But as a winger, your job is to put balls in the box for strikers to score. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of games this season we've played without a striker. So who are they crossing the ball to? So I think we'll have to judge our wingers when we've had a consistent run with a striker in the middle of the box.
Yeah, I think that's a fair comment. And
just quickly as well, James, Rafinha, Gelhardt running forward, very quick and very very effective going forward. We look lightning quick with those 3 running at defenders.
We saw that yesterday. We saw that yesterday, first half, second half. We seem to have gone back to that flooding bodies forward. Like, I can't remember the person who commented about it being Burnley. Did that give us more freedom because we knew we were better than them? Possibly. Yes, but it looked in every goal we scored. there's 3 or 4 bodies in and around the box. I know one's a corner, but you know what I mean? There's even the chances that we've missed, there's bodies queuing up to put it in. And we've not seen that lately either. I remember going back to the Norwich game, we were getting to the byline and there was nobody in the middle. The Tottenham game, we'd always just have one in the middle. And it was good to go back to that yesterday of seeing 3 or 4 bodies in and around the box with a 5th joining in as well.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. I mean, I guess we're. Do you want to touch on Joe Gelhardt? I don't know if we've done it a little bit, and do you want to just have a little bit of a section on him, or should we move on?
What I'll just say is that people are saying he's not quick, but he's not one of those that starts off quick, but once he's in his stride, it's very hard to stop him. He's just one of those that he's not a very quick starter, but once he starts running, you're not going to catch him, and he's a powerful lad too.
I think there was a couple of occasions yesterday. Obviously, Tarkowski's 6'3", 6'4", where he was in a little bit of a foot race with Tarkowski. And naturally, because Tarkowski's the bigger man, he catches up with him quickly over a short distance. But yeah, like you say, KG, when he gets into his stride, and he's a very quick runner with the ball, which is a massive attribute. Brownie, you'll know if you're a quick runner with the ball, then I mean you're an absolute. It's terrifying for defenders. You know, you can be quick. You can be quick as you want off the ball, but if you run with the ball and it just gets away from you, there's no point in having that.
It's a completely different skill set being quick without the ball and with it. And if you can do both, then obviously it's a major plus. And you just saw players backing off. And obviously, I know you've got Dan James at one side and Rafinha on the other. Quick one,
Brownie. I just want to say John H has corrected me on Tarkowski's height there. He's 6'1". Sorry, John.
One thing just touching on that 6'1", one thing that has impressed me, and we saw it in the Tottenham game when he played, and yesterday as well. He's actually winning headers. He's winning balls with his chest. There was one where he's laid it off with his chest yesterday, and this is against the Tarkowski, who's 6'1". He's not. I don't know if John knows Geldardt's height, but I'd be amazed if he's 6. I don't think he's anywhere near 6 foot. Do you know what I mean? He looks 5'9", 5'10". He looks with that stocky build, and he's actually winning balls in the air as well. I didn't think he had that, not in him, but I've obviously not seen him need to do that in the 23s. But in the first team, obviously we play with a focal point like Bamford. He's having to hold the ball up and bring players, and he's doing it. He was winning headers off Tarkowski yesterday. He was chesting the ball down and holding the ball up, and he did it at Tottenham as well. And 5'9". That's one thing I know we see his tricky skills and him running at players, but for me, seeing him being able to do stuff like that is a massive positive for me.
Yeah, there's a couple of those players in the league, isn't there? Like Sterling, Jota, like small guys, but they got a good spring on them, and I think he's probably going to be in that category.
Do you know what I like as well, KG? I think it's the fact that it's not just about his spring when there's a ball coming towards him. It's his physicality with the centre back as well. It's a quick nudge in the centre back, and then he wins the ball on his chest, like Brownie says. He's very, very smart at doing that. It's not all just about jumping and trying to beat the defender in a a headed race. It's impossible. You have to use your body. And Gelhardt, he's been dealing with a small frame for his entire life, so he's had to adapt to that, especially in the Premier League. And
this is the difference between. I know some people want Greenwood in, but when you just compare, and I know it's not a fair comparison because they're completely different players, but Gelhardt is streets ahead of Greenwood. That's why Greenwood's being linked with a low move away. Gelhardt, he's one of those. I think because we've got him, we're not really appreciating what we could have here, and. He's one of these where if he was at another club, we'd be looking at him like, why didn't we get him for $1 million? We should be delighted we got this guy for $1 million, and very sorry to Wigan. But, this is a real... If he keeps on going the way he's going, there will be a genuine conversation of who should play up front between him and Bamford.
But this is for me, this is a whole different podcast, and maybe we should do this as a different podcast. But if he's not getting in front of Roberts, if he's not starting games in front of Roberts, and we've seen that he's not starting games ahead of Dan James, and you presume that's system-based, Bamford's obviously going to be the big problem for him, like naturally, because Paddy's been absolutely brilliant. He's not. I mean, he's been great. I mean, he was brilliant for Leeds in the Premier League, and obviously he's our starting number 9. But how on earth does Joe Gelhardt, when Bamford's back and he's still got all these obstacles ahead, how does he get in front? Is it just him scoring off the bench when he comes on for 10 minutes? Is that his only window of opportunity now?
How old's Bamford?
28, I think.
Is he?
Yeah.
I thought he had a bit more on him than that. It's hard because we know, I mean, I mean, Bielsa won't be here forever, but we know, and I've said myself to you two guys, you got to take the rough with the smooth. Bielsa is very loyal to his players, whether we like it or not. He's loyal to his players, and Bamford's his number 9. Always has been. We saw it when Ruth was at the club. Whenever Bamford was fit, Ruth would play. And that was during a time where Ruth was probably more clinical. He was still wanting. He knew we wanted Bamford in that number 9. I don't think Gelhardt dislodges Bamford when Bamford's fit. I just don't.
Yeah, listen, Pete, for me, so go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, mate. I appreciate that. Bill, close chat and like, lads. Connor puts a lot into hosting these for free. Yeah, guys, we all do as content creators. If you wouldn't mind just liking the video, that'd be great. But we're not closing the chat. But thanks anyway.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, for me, like I know what Connor's saying, and it is true. Bielsa is very loyal to his players. But for me, you go with Dan James, Rafinha, Gelhardt, Bamford, if we're going to have to do it. Now, that sounds to me great. That sounds brilliant to me. Like people keep mentioning Rodrigo. I've actually forgotten the guy was out. I'm not going to lie to you. I forgot the guy was out. I've not noticed him being missing one bit. Not like I noticed Calvin Phillips. Not like I noticed Creswell and Struck. Creswell, who's been linked with Liverpool, Man United out of nowhere, by the way. But just for me, you've got to play your best players, and Gelhardt is one of our best players. And it's the thing is, I'm not a stat guy, but there was some kind of stat going on where he's doing something on an average of something and all this kind of stuff. He's effective because he's a good player. We're not having to say, maybe he could do this. Maybe if he does this, we're saying, no, get him on because he is doing this.
But KG, we all know this. We've come on here. We've debated this.
Yeah, I know.
But what honestly, what I don't want to know is, you know, do we think he will get in? What is his avenue when Patrick Bamford is fit? And, you know, you've probably got Roberts there, James, Rodrigo potentially. How is Gelhardt getting into this side? What's he going to be able to do? Is it going to be a year on the bench now? We're going to see less and less of him.
I think when Bamford's back, Bamford plays to the end of the season. I think Bamford plays next year. Can he play in behind him? Can he play in that 10 where Rodrigo's tried to play? Is that an avenue he can get into the team with? I don't know. I don't know. It'd be
he has to fit him in. He has to fit him in, doesn't he? He just has to.
Next year, I'd look at next year, 20. Next year, if he keeps coming on doing what he's doing this year, definitely next year, you look at, you got a Bamford, Gelhardt in behind, hopefully Rafinha on one side, and then you've got a James Harrison over. That's quite a frightening front four, to be fair. Yeah. It's just, I think I saw it on the thing. I think he will play in the cup next week at West Ham, and that's another chance for him, isn't it? It's another chance for him to show what he's all about, and he's ahead of Roberts.
And Nick's just said here, if you look at the Foden model, he took a season plus before he became a regular. It's true, that is true, but it was a very different scenario. Foden's come through the Man City system. He's a City fan. It's a completely different scenario. Joe Gelhardt is a Liverpool lad. He's come to Leeds. He's going to want minutes. He's been promised this 2-year program where Leeds United always say to players, look, you've got an opportunity of first-team football regularly starting for Leeds within the 2-year period. Gelhardt's going to be eyeing that. He's going to be looking at the fact that in 370 minutes, he's got, 2 penalties, a goal and an assist.
That was the stat that KG was alluding to. I've seen it as well. I think it was across the top 5 leagues in Europe.
More impact than any other. I think it's 19-year-old, 20-year-old, isn't it?
Goal contributions per minute across the top 5 leagues in Europe.
But why it's a different scenario to Foden is Gelhardt's not just going to have this blind loyalty to Leeds if he's not playing. And listen, I'm not. This is
different for me on the Foden thing. Is Foden was competing with Bernardo Silva and David Silva and Kevin De Bruyne, and he was having to get in front of Mahrez and Sterling. With all the greatest respect in the world, we ain't got that. He's going to be,
and it's not just that he was trying to get in front; he was learning from these guys, and you can see it in the way Foden plays. He's very much like David Silva and a mesh of a lot of those guys. So he was learning from the best, and Gelhardt isn't learning from the best here. So
we're talking about Bamford, and Bamford's been out a while. He's not. I'm a big Bamford fan. It might take him time to come back into the team. I know he scored against Brentford. I'm getting them mixed up tonight, but he's been out a while. He'll need time to settle back in. It could be a situation of Bamford not playing full 90 minutes for a while. Does Gelhardt get 20 minutes here, 30 minutes there? winning the cup.
I just don't know the pecking order, mate. Like, you know, if Roberts goes off injured, if Roberts doesn't go off injured yesterday, does Gelhardt even come on? Like, you know what I mean?
We've seen squads this year with Gelhardt not even in it.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying. That's what I'm trying to refer to. For me, there is still 2 or 3 players, not Bamford, 2 or 3 ahead of Gelhardt. I don't understand that, but it feels that way. And that's what I don't get. But yeah, anyway.
You're not going to like me saying this, KG, but I think if Rodrigo's fit, I think Rodrigo's still above Gelhardt. Not me personally, but I think Bielsa would play.
I agree.
I think Bielsa would play Rodrigo ahead of Gelhardt if Rodrigo was fit yesterday. I think Rodrigo would have been one coming on, if not starting.
So you're literally looking at a scenario where, on that logic, you've got 4 or 5 players ahead of him. So
it's going to be. I know we're in the January transfer window, but I really think it'll be an interesting summer. I really do. I think we went big the first year. We didn't really do much last year. Yeah, I know we spent 25 on James and 13 on Firpo, but it felt the summer just gone. We were replacing positions at left, whereas this summer coming, I think a few may move on, but I think we need to bolster quality. So you're talking about this conversation now. We could bring in a number 10 next year, and then there's another player in his pathway. You just a lot of if buts and maybes, but for now, I think the next game's West Ham, and I think he starts.
Yeah, should we talk about the? I think we've got sort of a. I mean, you've got to look at it as a Leeds fan as a decent run of fixtures now. We've got 4. Fixtures coming up in terms of West Ham United. Obviously, we've got them twice in the cup. You know, once in the league and one in the FA Cup. And then we've got we've got Newcastle. Then it's Villa. Then it is Everton. So, you know, I mean, what are we thinking, boys? Obviously, we've got West Ham coming up, but generally out of the next 4 games, I'm sort of looking at the 4 as the metric. Really, KG, what should Leeds be looking at here realistically?
I'm looking at least 6 points. At least 6 points out of those. Newcastle at home. Is Everton? Where is that one? Away. Everton's away. But but even then, Everton aren't doing very well right now. So we have to take advantage of that again. They're a team that's in and around us. So I would look to go to Everton and get a win. I really would. There's a lot of tension up in that place right now. You can see it. The fans are starting to boo the
one win in 12.
One win in 12. Benitez, Luca Digne's out. They got a new guy in, which is good to see them doing business early. Must be nice. But yeah, I'm looking at those 2 games in particular.
Business.
Yeah, I'm looking at those 2 games in particular for 6 points straight off the bat. And West Ham at the minute, they're still a good team, don't get me wrong, but there is a chance that you can steal a point from West Ham at this moment in time. So
yeah.
Who knows? Because we've been through these scenarios before, and this was a point I was making about Burnley, is that how many times, remember before one of the international breaks, right, we have to look at these 3 games, and if we win all these games and then we keep moving them, then we got Brentford at home, we win that one, we'll be all right, then we draw it. But luckily we beat Burnley. So we've got a bit of a gap and a bit of house money to play with, but I definitely see at least 6 points.
Brownie, I've got a question for you just off the bat, mate. Out of those 4 games, for me, in my head, obviously West Ham. Listen, I think we've competed 3 times with West Ham. I think they've been the better team, but it's been narrow score lines. And this season we've had not really a registered fit team. But when I'm looking at those games immediately, I'm thinking Newcastle, and I'm thinking that is once again another massive game, because like we're speaking about with Palace and Brentford, really, when that came as a couple, I think Newcastle on the back of the Burnley win. I think I'm looking at that at home, mate, and I'm thinking that game we played at St James's Park when we should have buried them in the first half. This is another. It's another. I think we should be winning this game. Really,
yeah. We say that now, but we don't play them for another 19 days. That's 19 days of transfer window activity for Newcastle. We know they're going to go big with players. If we were playing them tomorrow, we beat them comfortably. You don't know who's going to sign for Newcastle. Do you know what I mean? They could bring in 4 or 5 world-class players. Do you know what I
mean? Brownie, I don't think I'd expect them to really be fully firing by that point anyway, indoctrinated within the system. They might not even start. They might not be ready. I don't know.
If they bring a player in, they're starting them. They need points. They've been linked with Aubameyang. I know we mentioned it. I think the Newcastle situation, they tried to get big managers and they ended up, I'm not saying Eddie Howe ain't a big manager, but I'm pretty sure he wasn't top of their list. So the players that they're going to try and attract. It's if they can get them to Newcastle.
But you know, Brownie, I'm looking at these and I'm thinking, I agree with you, but I'm thinking, let's say if we're talking about sort of an Aubameyang, maybe will be a difference maker. But like you've said about a 32-year-old Kieran Trippier, I'm not looking at that one instantaneously and thinking Leeds are now going to struggle against Newcastle with additions like that. I don't
think, what I'm saying is I don't think that'll be their only signing.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
But for me, I think it could flop massively. Like I've alluded to, they wanted Conte as manager. They wanted all these high-profile European managers, and they got Eddie Howe with the greatest will in the world. Is it going to be the same thing in the transfer market? They want Dembele, they want Aubameyang. I don't think they get them, to be honest. I really don't.
But even if you look at those, like, the ones that are sort of realistic, KG, when you look at Dele Alli, Coutinho, ones like Trippier, I'm not
Lingard,
looking at those.
You know what I mean? Players that aren't playing. I think they make a difference to Newcastle. I really do, mate. If they're signing Coutinho, Lingard, Ali, it's a lot different to them turning up with Longstaff. You know what I mean? It's a game at Ellen Road where I think we've been good at Ellen Road this year. I really do. I mean, we got turned over by Liverpool. Our under-23s got beat by Arsenal. Other than that, we've competed with everyone. Everton away is a good one. Like KG mentioned, I think they're really in a bit of a rut. I'd be very disappointed if we went to Everton and got beat. West Ham, playing them twice is a weird one. You see it a few times. You rarely get done twice when you play them back to back. So it's which one we don't get beat in. Everton, we want to take something. The Villa one, because we play them twice, is that home or away?
Villa's away. Villa's away, this one.
See, that... It'd be a tricky game, that, innit? Leeds Villa. You know what I mean? Gelhardt's got them playing a little bit. I know they got beat, but against Brighton, I keep saying Brighton instead of Brentford. Unbelievable. I know they got beat by Brentford, but we'll pick up points.
Hey, Bamford might be fit.
Yeah, it's one of them where you'd rather have 6 because that's winning 2 games, but I could see us 5, 2 draws and a win. It's one of them. You'd rather win the 2 games, but would you? Having 6 points is better than 5. I know how daft that sounds, but being unbeaten in 3 of the games rather than losing 2 is where I'm looking at it. I think we'll compete in all 4 games. I don't see a previous weeks of Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal debacle. I think the players that we've got coming back into the team now, like someone just mentioned, Bamford, Rodrigo to come back in. I think we're looking a little bit stronger.
I am Brown. Well, KJ, I am sort of looking at Newcastle though and thinking, I mean, does it have as much significance as Burnley? Really, just when I say that, it's because Newcastle are obviously on 11 points. If they get a win against Leeds United, that moves them to 14. Obviously, they get closer to Leeds. Then, how are you looking at that game, mate? 'Cause that one stands out for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at that as Newcastle right now because they haven't signed anybody as we speak. I don't think so. We're still looking at Kieran Clark playing, Longstaff, Manquillo.
Your favourite Almiron.
Oh, listen, don't talk to me about that. You see what's funny about that guy Almiron? He scored against us last season. What's he done since then? Exactly what I said he'd do. Nothing. But,
touching on Newcastle, it's a big couple of weeks for Newcastle. Their next 2 games are Watford and Leeds. That's their next 2, Watford, Leeds. I mean, Watford, Newcastle, they both can't win. So that's one of them dropping points. And we could be in a situation where if we beat Newcastle at home, we could be looking at 10, 11 points above the bottom 3.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying to KG. Like I'm saying, KG, if it's, what are your thoughts, mate, on it?
Yeah, all it is that you get the win as we should against that Newcastle team at home. And then what we're doing then is looking at the teams in and around us in 12th, 13th instead of. Like I say, I don't think we're going to get rushed down with those other 3 teams now. But it's more about just beating the competition around you. Just like the Villa Brentford, their teams in and around us, but now they're moving on up to like 23, 24 points, which is where we want to get. We want to get out of the teens now. We want to get into the 20s. That would do me fine right now. So we have to beat this Newcastle at home. I don't care who they sign in the next couple of weeks because I don't know about this Aubameyang thing. I think it's just papers. It's Newcastle, it's Arsenal. They're easy clicks as well. It's just easy for people to click on. So I don't see them signing anyone like that. And Kieran Trippier, I'm not worried about a right back coming in and affecting the game that much. So I still look at it like they've got Kieran Clark and all these guys. So
that's not what they need. They need fullbacks. They need a bit of a spine to the team for me. So spending 25 million on a right back just seems mental. And this is why I think it could go a little bit Pete Tong for him in this transfer window.
Going down with $1 billion in the bank.
Yeah, the next couple of weeks, we've said it. Burnley's next 4 horrific. Newcastle, like you just brought up, they've got 3 games in and around them.
Big games.
I'm not even looking at Norwich's fixtures because they're possibly one of the worst Premier League teams I've ever seen. I tweeted they've scored 1 goal in 7 games.
Yeah, atrocious. They are atrocious. They had the bounce, didn't they? They had the bounce. But yeah, I mean, lads, that's it really. I think we've gone for an hour and 5 minutes. I've really appreciated it. We've got a last question here from Jack. I'm going to flag him up because he's got a great profile picture. Who's getting relegated, lads? So bottom 3. Yeah, I think I've actually got.
I'll take it.
I've actually got this. I'm just saying. I've actually got this down because obviously the weekend and what we saw and the different Leeds and the old school Leeds and if we can keep that up, I don't think we'll be anywhere near it, but hopefully we can. I mean, Brownie, let's come to you first, mate. The optimist. Who are you going?
I've said 3 from the bottom 4 for a long time. I'm going Newcastle, Watford, Burnley. I think Newcastle will bring in enough to get a couple more wins than the other rubbish down there. And I've said it to you guys off air, and it'll sound daft because they won yesterday. I think Brentford will be closer to the bottom than a lot of the other teams.
KG, there's a lot of people going for Norwich, Watford and Burnley, saying Newcastle are going to get out of it. What are your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind Newcastle going down because I don't really have that much time for him. But there's something with the Watford thing in regards to Dennis. You think him being here would be a big plus, but if there's some stuff going on behind the scenes and he's not playing up to how he's played so far, it doesn't mean all that much because they're struggling all round anyway. So I know Ben Foster's coming back very soon and Dennis and everything, but I just think Newcastle are going to pull it out of the bag. I think they're more likely to go on a 2-game winning run than Watford at this point in time.
KG, one name I'm going to give you, mate, of who had a great start to the season and then teared off massively. Odion Ighalo, mate. Literally teared off. I think he scored 2 goals in the second half of the season.
No. But the thing is, you can see with Emmanuel Dennis, man, he's the real deal.
Oh, he's a proper player.
If we're talking about him like a Ighalo in a year's time, I'd be very surprised because he's got all the materials to be a top striker. So
I've got a question. Who was it that asked that? Was it Jack?
Yeah, we've not finished it yet.
No, I'm just going to fight for something for you boys. Where do we finish? Now we're on a bit of optimism. Where do we finish?
I think we'll win the league, mate, to be honest. That'll be the next question. But KG, who did you go for, mate?
Norwich, Burnley and Watford.
Okay, cool. Interesting. So what was your question, Brownie?
Who do you think will go down, Connor? You always seem to skip these predictions. You put me and KG in the spotlight to be shot at, to be clipped up.
Yeah, you write more than the problem is you write more than I am, so I'll let you guys go for it. Yeah, I mean, I sound like Mr. Flip Flop here, and listen, I can completely understand that. I'll take shots, but I just couldn't believe the difference that I saw. I couldn't believe how bad Burnley were after me doing a PowerPoint presentation on them. So listen. If they
I did say Norwich to go down.
Listen, all I'll say is I do own it every time, fellas. I will own it. I'll always come out and say that I've made a mistake all the time. But I think if we play like that and that's consistent and we actually get our bodies back, Burnley, Watford, and Newcastle. Yeah, that's what I'll go for.
Get out.
Sorry, I've said Norwich, haven't I? Burnley, Watford, and Norwich. That's what I think. I'm the same as you. Yeah.
I'd be amazed if
Norwich will go out. Yeah. That's what I think.
We're all agreed. Bloody hell! Clip it up. We've all agreed on something.
Hey, if we lose to Newcastle and Everton, I'll be coming back on here and crying again. But listen, let's go for that question as well, Brownie, just to end it off. A positional finish for Leeds. God, I don't know how I got a clue about this. I will go positional finish. I think we're going to finish where we are now. I think we'll finish 16th. Yeah, 16th. KG?
Yeah, I would say 15th at best.
Brownie? I don't know where this could be. This could be anywhere.
No, it'd be realistic. I'm just looking at the teams around us.
I thought that comment when I said to you that we're as close to 8th as we are 18th might have inspired you. There's loads of people saying 12th.
I mean, we are closer to 8th. It's fact. We are closer to 8th than 18th. I'm gonna go with finishing above Southampton, Brentford, and Palace, 12th or 13th.
All right. Well, yeah, there we go. I did say 13th at the start of the season. So that would be
that's and you got shot down in flames, mate.
Got battered. Yeah, got battered. Absolutely battered. I remember. I'll never forget this comment. I'll never forget the comment from that, and it was on Twitter. And Twitter's obviously not the logistical space, but I always remember.
Whoa!
Sorry, Brownie. It is. Sorry, mate. It is. Yeah, it's voice of reason, the forum of knowledge. It is. But I just remember someone quote tweeting me. I think I've said it multiple times, and just put. So I'd put. I think Leeds will finish 13th, and someone just put, "Oh, here he is, looking for attention." I thought that'll always stick out. That was brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Because aren't you, Connor? That's ready to go.
That is, yeah, but ready. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I do. I think we're 4 points off 11th, and we've got a game in hand, Connor, on Palace.
Is that Liverpool away?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Right, guys, we're going to leave it there. We've been going for an hour and 11.
Wait. Sorry, Connor, you're not getting out of it like that. Where's the
Do you know what, KG? I don't even realize get out of it. KG, I don't actually realize I'm doing it. I've got out of it again.
Got my, can you just run through the predictions for yesterday's game?
Please, for the people.
Yeah, all right, we'll go.
While I hold my Where's Wally mug, can you just run through the predictions?
We'll go through that. Right, okay. So KG picked up a point yesterday saying that Leeds United were going to win. Obviously, if you're here with the predictions, you know that if you get the correct score, it's 3 points. But if you get the team right, you get a point. None of us have got a correct score yet, unfortunately. But we are all points on the board. Brownie is ahead now with 5. You got the correct score. Brownie, what was your score prediction?
I went 2-0. So if we're going on goal difference, I got it right. But
yeah, it's still good, mate. I'm doing a league. I'm not doing another spreadsheet. But yeah, I'm in 3rd. I didn't get any.
Sorry, you're breaking up, mate. What did you go for yesterday?
I think I went with a 1-1. So I got
no.
Let's go.
I went with a 4-0 Leeds, didn't I?
No.
Oh, okay. Listen, I'll come on here and be transparent. I thought Burnley were going to beat us. But there we go. I thought Burnley were going to beat us. Yeah, I said 2-1 Burnley.
We were missing Barnes, though, to be fair.
Scumbag, yeah.
And Brownhill.
Oh, yeah, and Brownhill. They were missing Brownhill and Barnes.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm Pope. I'm Pope.
Hey, my God, Nick Pope. That's a truth. But it's more Josh Brownhill. It's more Josh Brownhill than that press that he makes. Whoa.
Yeah, I don't want to be talking about Nick Pope anymore. But yeah, that's the league. Brownie on top with 5. Connor and KG level pegging. I'm putting myself above KG because I just feel like it. And there you go.
You should be bottom for that prediction yesterday. You should lose a point. you should lose a point. Are we putting it in the FA Cup or are we leaving it just for the league?
Yeah. We'll do that. Let's do that. We need to do that. Okay, the FA Cup is going to be a bit difficult because obviously we don't know what on earth is going on, what squad Bielsa is going to put out. But West Ham versus Leeds United in the FA Cup, we'll go with this one. Actually, no, because it's on the... When is it, the game?
Next Sunday.
This week.
This week.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Yeah, that makes sense then. Sorry. Okay, West Ham versus Leeds United at their stadium in the FA Cup. Sunday, 2:00. Brownie, go.
Draw. Does it go straight to penalties?
I
don't know. Does it go? No, I'm being genuinely serious. Does it go to a replay or is it straight to penalties? Does anybody know?
Don't
know. It's bad from us, isn't it? It's bad. So we've got everyone in the comments saying, I don't know, West Ham 2-0 or 2-0 West Ham, yeah. Brownie, come on.
1-1. I don't know the outcome of the penalties or replay or what, but I genuinely don't think they'll put a proper team out.
I don't know. Paul Gray said it's a replay. There's Niall said a replay. So there you go. It's all replays.
I think they're trying to get Champions League at the end of the day. I genuinely don't think they'll put a full team out. Can't wait.
Then everyone's saying no replays and pens. I'm really confused. I don't think anybody
replays are back.
You know what? I think it's replay because in the last round they did replays, didn't they? I think it is replay.
No, well, Anthony, I've had Anthony on the channel before, and he's a voice of reason, Anthony Higgs, and he said to me that there ain't replays, it's penalties. So there we go, Brownie.
Okay,
penalties it is.
Right, yeah. So Leeds on penalties. Who's getting the winning penalty, Brownie? Scoring it, sorry, I'm not getting it. Roberts, okay.
Yeah.
Isn't he suspended? No.
Yeah.
No, it's for the league. Unfortunately, it's just for the league. That's a
shame. Okay, so KG.
God, right, yeah. I had 1-1. I've already locked it in my various predictions.
For God's sake, see, it always comes to me, doesn't it? I always have to be the outlier, right? So 1-1. Who's winning on penalties, KG?
Us.
Right. Okay. So you two
junior Firpo winner.
Right. Okay. There should be like an extra point for the penalty winner there or something like that.
Yeah, there should.
If I'm being serious, I'm not having Roberts being the winning penalty then.
All right, then. Well, who's getting it then? McCarron?
Gelhardt.
Is that Gelhardt or Gelhardt?
That's silly.
It's his cousin.
He went number 2 against Fulham. That's a silly, stupid shout. That's stupid from me.
Brownie, we're spending 10 minutes talking about who you think is going to score the winning penalty here.
I'm trying to save you time from saying 4-0 West Ham, mate. But you can't.
That's already down. That's locked in.
Take the lead. Go on.
That's locked in. So, have you not got a winning penalty taker then?
Yeah, we'll go Roberts. We'll stick with Roberts.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. West Ham. Okay. West Ham Leeds.
We've been on 10 minutes here. We've been discussing this for ages.
We've got West Ham. Okay, I'll go with 2-2.
Look at him sweating.
I'll go with 2-2. I'll go with 2-2, and I will go with a Leeds penalty win. It can all be decided. It can all be decided if we got draws or whatever. Imagine if it's 3-3. Yeah, and I'll go winning penalty. I will go with Luke Ayling. Why not? Guys, I apologize so much if this has been waffle. It feels like there's been a lot of breakages and waffle in this show. It will be available, of course, on Spotify and iTunes and all that good stuff after this. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure that you, of course, like the video, keep commenting and all this good stuff, and I'll read all your stuff and respond to you in the comment section as well. Make sure you're checking out Cage's channel. Link will be in the description below. Brownie's Twitter is always a laugh. Guys, we will see you soon.